And
I just started the recording
perfect.
for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so yeah, I'll to continue the meeting. For just little housekeeping, if everyone would rename themselves, if you're a senator, put your name as senator, and then your last name. So, and that goes for every SGA member. If, yeah, Senator Trevino got it. I should remove my first name there. And boom. Everybody got it? Okay. So today, if you, for just keeping this meeting organized, how do you guys want to obtain the flow? If you want to speak up, is it better to raise your hand using raise your hand feature, or to raise your hand physically? Does anybody have preference?
Can you see everybody? If somebody's sharing the screen,
No.
then I think somebody's just gonna have to speak up.
Great. Speak up. If you want to speak, use raise hand feature to be recognized. Or I will try my best to see everyone. Use raise hand feature to be recognized, because if we start speaking up at the same time, it might be a bit of chaos. So I can see everybody now, and if I can't see somebody and they raise their hand, someone who says it, please make us aware of it. But I will try my best to look at everybody's screen. Okay, so another thing I would like to bring to your attention before this meeting. The agenda that was sent before, it was sent yesterday, I believe. We would like to change it. And Becca, would you scroll down? The agenda that was sent yesterday, it had student club council under senator's report, and it did not have equity, diversity, and inclusion director on it. Would you guys like to move forward with this new agenda? Okay, so I would love someone to vote on it, to bring a motion.
I second that motion.
I would like to make a motion to accept these new minutes for the General Assembly meeting.
Okay.
They're not minutes, Sarah. It's the agenda.
Agenda. Apologies.
Yeah. We're accepting this agenda as it is today for today's meeting. Someone say, I move to accept this agenda for today's meeting.
I move to accept the agenda for today's meeting.
Okay. It was moved to accept this agenda for today's meeting. Anybody second it?
I second the motion.
It was moved and second to accept this agenda for today's meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any those who are in favor to accept and use this agenda for today's meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Side note,
Aye.
if you just push your space bar, it gives you easy access to be able to speak quickly without hitting the unmute button.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Chad. Yeah, so those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. We're going to use this agenda for today's meeting. Okay. Now let's scroll back. And Nadine brought us the General Assembly meeting minutes. Becca, do you have access to them? They are in the chat. You can bring them forward.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna just because I just put them on my computer, so I'm gonna just stop sharing this document and then.
Great. Okay, so as Becca is doing that, I just want to remind everyone here that the votes okay, this is Walla Walla campus SJ General Assembly meeting, if you didn't know, and votes that are going to be made, or whatever motions that needs vote to be made, only SJ members have the voting rights. So if you're not SJ members, you may not vote. We appreciate that. And for audiences, if you have anything, if any question, any comment, please bring it in the chat. And there is, we'll bring, at the end of the meeting, there'll be time for public comments, and that's when we'll speak on your feedback or question or anything. Thank you. Becca?
Sorry, I'm having difficulties right now.
No, it's all right.
Can you guys see the minutes that popped up, or are you guys still looking at my Outlook?
We're still looking at the Outlook.
Outlook. Okay. So this is a lot harder. Here we are. Can you guys see these?
Yeah. Thank you. So can you guys see the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so SJ members, take a look at it and see if it's it looks good to you. And I would accept motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve last month's General Assembly meeting minutes.
It was moved to accept the minutes from last General Assembly meeting. Any second? Better to second it.
I second the motion.
It was moved and second to approve the minutes from our last General Assembly meeting. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have
Hearing-
discussion. My last name is spelled wrong for attendance. It's spelled right throughout, but when it's in attendance, it's spelled wrong. So I don't know if that is any housekeeping issues.
Okay. Thank you for that. Since you're doing this, would you keep it in the minutes, in today's minutes, and then the secretary work on it to fix it?
And then who seconded the motion?
Senator Money. But now, because the motion was to approve the minutes, and they're going to be amended, somebody to amend this motion to bring a new motion forward. Someone say I move to amend the previous motion by fixing what's brought forward for approval.
I move to amend the previous motion by fixing what was needed.
It was moved to amend the previous motion and fix what's needed for this minutes. Any second? Anybody
Student Club Council Chair Tibbetts, second the motion.
It was moved and second to amend the previous motion of approving minutes until the what's needed to be fixed done. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, the motion carries. The minutes will be fixed and approved. Thank you. Now, so moving to the agenda now, today's agenda. Becca, would you like to share the agenda again?
Yeah, I'm getting to it. I just, because all of my school stuff and everything's pulled up, it's taking me generally a long time to share.
Anyways, if
Sorry.
you guys saw the agenda, the next thing on the agenda is giving report, and we start from the president. And I want my first report. It also regards today's meeting and timing of this meeting. So after today, we have SJ is going to be participating in Out Loud series event with the library, where they're going to be talking about some school updates, what SJ is doing right now, and they'll be answering questions related to what is happening with student government or any concerns students have. So that is going to be at 2 p.m. right after this meeting, which means we're going to be as fast as possible to run through this meeting, even though the first 15 minutes weren't that smooth. But I hope we're going to be able to finish it in time, in timely manner. The second thing I want to report about, this month, no, in December, the college president and other students are going to be meeting with Washington legislative, and SG will send a representative there, and the college president will go with the different students from different departments as well. This is a regular thing where legislative of Washington state have, it's usually a breakfast, but it's COVID, they're not gonna do it. But they have a meeting with Walla Walla Community College and another college in Washington for just legislative to know how students are doing in school, and if there is anything they want to bring forward to the our authorities higher up to make student education and success in higher education and community college better. So that is going to be going on. We'll bring you feedback on how it went after it happens. The meeting is scheduled to be on December 7th. And that is my report today. Vice President Adams, would you like to bring your report?
Yeah, I know that we have already had the campaign and elections for state, local, and federal, but we had a successful voter registration drive and initiative that collaborated with Vince and some of his team over the last month and a half. So getting the registration out there was successful, and I believe we had strong voter participation from our students at the Walla Walla campus. So I'm happy for the efforts and contributions on everybody's parts. Second, we are continually to work with getting a community service project drive approved off on. I believe it's in the final stages of the reentry task force team. Nadine has done a lot of work with her boss and getting the proper paperwork provided and submitted to the reentry task force. The community service project is going to be a winter weather gear drive, and that's going to be anything from gloves to mittens to scarves to hats to coats to blankets to socks, anything and in between. The setup point is going to be outside of the Welcome Center. We will have a box out there with a flyer designating it. And if you would just kind of get that word out to your people, to the people that you represent, that we would be happy for any and all donations. We do not have a definite begin start date, but it's just something that you can put in their ear. Let them be thinking about ways that they can contribute to our local community for the less fortunate that are in need. Those are the two major things that I have on my plate that I'd like to get out there to the group, and that wraps up my report for the month.
Thank you, Vice President Adams. Our Secretary and Treasurer today is not available, so we're gonna skip that. Now let's hear a report from senators, starting from Senator Bro. He's not around either today. He has a class. And now let's hear from Senator Money.
All right, so what I've been working on is I made a Google form to send up to students for their feedback on the art and science programs. And I'm also planning on talking to the art and science departments to get their input on like projects and what they think would be good changes. And then we also had the idea of an art contest, either to have through Zoom or on social media, and where the prize is a mural for the rec building. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. That's about it.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Senator Money. Let's hear a report from Senator Trevino.
Hello, everybody. So some of the stuff I've been working on is in partnership with the director of EDI, Margarita, and as well as President Benimana, working on creating a safe and brave space. Right now, we're thinking it's going to be through Zoom, but it's going to be a space where we open up different conversations and dialogues for people to ask difficult questions or to have difficult conversations that need to be had to kind of help educate and break down some of the biases that that some people have. Also working on maybe like some accessibility. We brought that forward. How the front door of the main entrance to building D, I believe it is, doesn't have one of the accessible buttons to like push open the door for people, and like people are having to go through the side door to get into the main building. So we brought that up, or I've brought that up. Then also still working on the pride flag idea that I had brought up as well, looking at different things, creating a survey to send out to students through Google to kind of see like what the collective student body thinks about that. And also just working with Margarita to see kind of like what would be like the cost and stuff, so that we have that presentation and like all of the information ready to provide to people when it's time to bring it forth. What else? Yeah, that's kind of pretty much all I'm working on. Brought forth, asked about the land acknowledgement and where we were at with that. to acknowledge that we are on occupied land. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Senator Trevino, for the wonderful report. Now let's hear report from Student Club Council Chair Tibet.
So tomorrow is my student club council chair meeting for all of the representatives at 4 p.m.
Okay.
So because when I extended the deadline for the clubs for the re-registration and membership, we were able to gain a few more clubs in excess. At this time, I would like to ask the senator for disability, diversion, equity, and inclusion. I know last year Equality Club was very active, and this year there has not been any participation from them. And I was wondering if you could bridge the gap for that. I know registration is due Monday and it's a very short period, but I kind of just wanted to reach out to you and wonder if there was a way to get Equality Club more active this year. Sorry, I'm typing and trying not to fall behind.
Okay.
Hold on. So during this year, I've learned that the student club council chair, whether it being me in the present or in future terms, we are having difficulty with advisors. The difficulty being that not all advisors might know who the student club council chair is, so receiving emails is really difficult, and in responding to those emails is often difficult as well. So I'm hoping that working with the student activities advisors that we will be able to come up with a plan to make it so that we're able to bridge the gap in that as well. And then I think that is everything that I have, but thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your report, Club Council Chair Tibet. Before we move on, does anybody have any question on the report that has given so far that you can hold on to before we move forward? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on our agenda. So from our last General Assembly meeting, we had some questions regarding Pride flag and support to LGBTQ plus community. How does SGA show their support, and how do they show their inclusivity, and as a campus as a whole? So we did not have any very definite answers in our meeting to the questions we had that last time. And today we invited EDI director today to give us more educated presentation about it and hopefully answer some of our questions. Please welcome Margarita.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you for all that applause. First of all, let me say that I was very excited to hear about the conversation that has come up in terms of potentially putting up a pride flag. I think the idea of putting forward statements of support is critical, and it's important for traditionally marginalized populations, those that have been discriminated against and kept from spaces like our institution of higher education. And that is why we put them forward. It's also important to remember that just the statement itself is not the only thing. It's a first step, but it's important to then move forward into actions. And so flying the pride flag is a little bit of a statement, but also a first step of action of showing that we are welcoming and inclusive of those identities. And that's why I think it's important. A lot of the conversation about the differences between diversity, inclusion, and equity. Many of you have heard me talk about that, so I won't give you the same spiel as usual. But I think it is important that as an institution and as a leadership group, you are considering how we can create those spaces that are welcoming, and how do we signal that to those that are around us. And this is, I think that there's a lot of, there's a lot of debate and potential disagreement of why it's important to put a pride flag forward, or why articulating support for our Black community is important. And so that raises a level of defense, of immediate, like barricading yourself against that conversation. And that can be challenging. So an example that I like to use about why it's important to put those little symbols of like why flying the pride flag could be important, right? For me, I am originally from Ecuador and living in a country that is not my country of origin. When I'm walking around and I see a flag from Ecuador, or I see somebody wearing like a soccer jersey from the national team, it signals to me that either they're from Ecuador and there's a little bit of a connection there, or there's a level of support and solidarity that makes me feel a little bit more welcome, gives me a little warm feeling, right? And so taking it bigger then to the context of the identities that make up who we are, having that symbol and communication forward is important. So I think what I wanted to do is open it up to you all of like, what are the questions that are coming up? What are the concerns with coming forward with a statement like flying the pride flag?
So Margarita, this is Chad Adams, the Vice President for Student Government Association. I appreciate you joining us today. Unfortunately, for last General Assembly, I was not there, but I understand there was some, I'm not sure if it was heated discussion, but there was definitely some discussion. And coming from my background, I was a previous veteran, and I support all rights from the left to the right to be able to show their support. I am in agreement that the flag should be able to be placed in support of that coalition. My only question to that would be, what other entities might come forward that want to be recognized as well? I know there's a Christian flag out there, and then is there a Muslim flag or a Hindu flag or other flags throughout the communities that might want to be included then? And I support that as well, but then there will come a time that we look at a flag and be like, well, that flag, the ISIS flag, is where we might have to draw the line. So my only question is, where do we, have this discussion of this is too much, where this should be?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I'll answer it because I think there's two pieces to your question, right? One is like it's important to have a policy for how we include that. And that has been part of my conversation with Senator Trevino on what does the college have in place in terms of a policy. I'm looking at whether it's something that the board needs to look at. And do we need to create that coming down the line? I think the distinction of like how far are we willing to go goes to what is the purpose of flying that flag, and what is the message that it sends out. My understanding is that right now the conversation that has come up in this group is the message of inclusion. We want to signal to individuals from the LGBTQIA+ community that this Walla Walla Community College is a welcoming place, that they will be able to find a place of belonging here, right? When you start bringing up questions of like flags that are focused on hate, which messages specific of exclusion, that creates a different conversation, and that's a very clear line.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Some people might not consider or construe that to be a message of hate. Some flags, where other people are seeing this, the gay pride flag as, intrusive on their views. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, you can view both those contextual flags as infringing upon somebody else's view. And that's why I don't see that the one that we're discussing now has anything to do with hate, but one could make the case where the other one does have hate. But you could also make it that case where it doesn't have hate as well.
I wanna respond to that, but I also wanna give Becca space if you wanna respond to that.
So I kind of want to piggyback off what Chad was saying, but in representing and staying balanced in a way, why not make a flag that shouts inclusivity but doesn't leave anything out? And maybe a pride flag could be that way in the rainbow sense, but keeping it more balanced where it's inclusivity, like fly a flag where it just says inclusivity, or something of the manner where it wouldn't send the wrong message, but it still sends the right message.
So that is a good question as well. I think I'm going to circle back really quick to Chad's first question about somebody feeling like a specific flag, and in this case, the pride flag, would be infringing on their beliefs or on their views. I think something that's important to keep in mind, and I think about it a lot in my work related to people's identities and marginalized identities specifically, I think it's important to think of the difference of a difference in opinions, which we're all entitled to have our own, but also the different identities that we hold. And marginalizing somebody based on their identity is discrimination. And so making sure that we are keeping that line in mind when we're having these conversations, I think is important. And then I think to your question, Beck, I think that thinking about a broader message of inclusion is important. And to that, I can mention that I've been working on signage to go around our campuses that have the message of basically you belong is the big message. And like, we welcome everybody from different races and abilities and disabilities and genders. So that's something that's in the work from my side. And so there's a little bit of that I think is important and will hopefully be up whenever we go back to our campuses. But I think there's also this and the other piece are important, because the reason why flying a pride flag is significant is because that represents a population that has been traditionally marginalized and discriminated against. And so putting up the message that like, we recognize that you have faced these barriers and these challenges, and over here, we stand with you and you're welcome here, can make a big difference.
I say let's put it up.
I second that.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it, especially with the why being explained. It's just, do you think that there's possibilities where it could run into people being immature or less educated on their opinions or with their opinions?
Well, we might have to meet those conversations. They might get up there and pull the flag down. They might tear it. They might burn it. But that's where that conversation and dialogue can start moving forward within the community.
And how would those policies be addressed through administration, though, if they are willing to?
I mean, there's a code of conduct of how students should behave themselves on campus. I think that would be all inclusive right there. I'm sure there's a general order in there somewhere. We can relook at it, the handbook, student handbook, but I'm sure there's something there.
I think if you're going through the process of, as you've discussed, putting out a survey to all students, that opens the opportunity for some conversation on education. If and when you get to the point of like, yes, this is something that we want to move forward with, when that happens, you could also put out a message that offers an explanation of why this is important, why this is something that the SGA has pushed forward. And again, it offers another opportunity for conversation on education. And if a lot of questions come up, we can, we've talked about the safe and brave places. Maybe that's a place where we create that educational piece that's critical for all of this work.
Thank you so much, Margarita. That helps a lot. And I hope those who had questions were answered and satisfied with the answers. If it's gonna come with some backlash, but if we believe in what we're doing and it's for the greater good, for being inclusive and recognize people who are not normally recognized or supported, I think that's what the college is there for, to support students, no matter what their identities are. So thank you so much. And those backlashes that will come up, it will help us start the conversation, and hopefully those who are not enough educated about the subject, or those even who are educated, will increase their education about the matter. And everyone who has questions about it, they can bring them forward to have answers. I think it's gonna be a good thing.
Agree.
We thank you so much for your time and providing this information and answering our questions.
Of course, if there's anything else at any point, let me know. And I'm, like I said, I'm really excited that this is getting pushed forward, and I'm excited to support it any way I can.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you will be welcome to come back, or maybe you will allow us to ask you more questions if they ever come up.
That's what I'm here for, anytime.
Thank you so much. Now moving on to the agenda, new business. We are going to be SG is going to be meeting a Senate administration, and I might have spoken with some of you guys about this. It's not going to happen this quarter, but next quarter we're going to start working on that. We might meet with some people due to projects going on, but officially we will start on that projects next quarter. And when we come back next quarter, we have a plan and we get into it. So that's new business, connecting with administration. And I don't see anything in old business. So we can move
Sarah,
to.
I do have a question though.
Okay.
What about the student activities advisors and their reports? Do they just not give reports at all this quarter, or on the agenda anymore? Or is that something that they're supposed to be included on the agenda?
Would you repeat that, please? Sorry. What did you say?
Me?
Yeah.
So with the student life advisors,
Mm-hmm.
do they just not give reports anymore, or are they supposed to be included on the agendas?
Gotcha. They are supposed to be on the agenda. And unfortunately today I forgot to put them there. But would we, advisors, would you like to give us a report even though we do not have you on the agenda? We apologize on that.
I currently don't have a report. I appreciate all the work you all are doing. I actually took note that in future meetings, I may ask that the student activities team have a separate report, and someone from the student activities team would attend this meeting as well. So that's kind of my report, is that way it's not coming from me or Nadine, it's coming from a fellow student. I don't think you're wrong to not have us as a report. I think if there's any logistical errors or anything like that, we would speak up and say that. But having us as a report as an option is great. Sometimes we miss some things and we can report at that time. So with that being said, I would be glad to report on a couple things that student activities is doing. But other than that, from the SGA side, I think you guys are all doing great work. Please continue that and keep asking those questions. I know I've talked separately with just the e-board about asking the questions that you need answered. Please continue to do that. Even if you think it may ruffle some feathers or cause some, issues, please ask those questions and continue to ask. With that being said, student activities has a couple different things going on. I'm sure if you've checked your student email, you've seen those, but we are giving away Zen Gardens for Stress-Free Week. So please sign up for that. The last day to sign up for the Zen Gardens is Friday, and they will be sent directly to your house. And then we're also doing a paint party on December 1st. If you'd like to participate in that, you need to sign up by tomorrow, and there's only 40 spots available for that. So that's also in your email. So other than that, that will conclude any advisor report for now.
Thank you so much, Vince. I like the idea of having a student activities person to give us the updates. We kind of hear or append what is happening, but it would be great to have someone giving us some updates of what's happening in the activity side. So thank you.
And I think it would be better served from a student than myself at times. So I don't mind making updates, but I think it serves better from a student. And then I also wanted to make an acknowledgement of your time. So you're at 1:46 with another meeting coming up directly at 2. So just wanted to make sure you're on track, which it looks like you are, but I just wanted to make that acknowledgement.
Yeah. Thank you, Vince. Okay, from the chat, I don't see any public comments. So if there is no discussion, I would accept a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, so no discussion on what's said. Can somebody say, I move to adjourn the meeting at 1:46, please?
I move to adjourn the.
Go ahead, Senator Benny.
I move to adjourn the meeting at 1:46.
I second it.
It was moved and second to adjourn the meeting at 1:46. Any discussions? All in favor of adjourning the meeting at 1:46, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. What, Chad?
I was scratching some
Okay.
dandruff.
The ayes have it, the motion carries. We adjourn the meeting at 1:46. Thank you so much for coming and all the contribution. We appreciate that. And
I'd like to invite any and all senators that are out there to, if they can, come to the Out Loud series today and have a look-see and see what we're going to be presenting.
That's
we
correct.
talked about that if we were gonna be a part of that, or if you guys just want us to like show up and like cheer you on.
I'm going to stop recording. So just giving you all a heads up, I'm stopping the recording.
Yeah, the meeting is over anyway. So